Oh. There we are. Hi.
Share the screen. Morning, everyone, and I'd like to thank you all for being here and welcome you on behalf of the Economic Alliance. My name is Mason Duke. The Economic Alliance is a nonprofit organization that operates here in Okanagan County doing economic development work. And part of that work includes putting on free classes for the community such as this. So we're pleased today to be joined by Rachelle Baughman of Coulee Creative Co. And I will let you take it from there, Rachelle.
Thank you. Hi guys, thanks for joining today. I appreciate it. I'm Rachelle Baughman, as you said. I own Coulee Creative Co. in Grand Coulee. You guys will have to bear with me. This is my first time teaching a class outside of Grand Coulee. Previously, I was the executive director for the Grand Coulee Chamber of Commerce for 5 years. So that's kind of where my chamber background stems from. I switched into owning my own business. I found a really big need for marketing and education. So I kind of switched gears and decided to start my own business. And it's been wonderful. I really enjoy it. So yeah, but Economic Alliance asked me to come teach today, and I'm excited to do so. I love talking about small businesses and the chambers, and so I'm just kind of here to have a conversation and help you guys with some things that I have found and maybe brainstorm some new tools for you guys. So that's my hope for you today. If you guys want to introduce yourselves, that'd be wonderful.
I'm Patty Burns and I'm from Oroville, and I'm a chamber member. I don't have a business, but I've been in Oroville for many years now, since the 80s and stuff. And so I've kind of helped with different organizations in town, and I'm just kind of see that there's a need to the chamber and organizations and getting things together. And so I'm just here to get some information.
Great.
And my name is Paula Chambers, longtime resident of Baughman, Washington. I'm at a thrift store and a historic hotel.
Oh, very neat. Thanks. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll get started over here. So I just tried to put together a little presentation for everyone today about strengthening small businesses and chamber engagement within those small businesses. My hope is to offer some high impact resources for you. I'd like to explore some engagement strategies to help you understand and learn new tricks maybe for ways to engage with your businesses or the community even. Some strategic partnerships that we've seen that work really well. And then just to kind of help clarify to the community and to other members within the chamber what your role is in the chamber and in the community. And then also help you strengthen retention within the chamber, within your business and customers. So that's my goal for today. We will start with understanding the needs of small businesses. So it's obviously all small businesses have challenges that they face. Some of the most common challenges that I have seen within the within the Grand Coulee area and other rural communities is capital, visibility, staffing, and regulation. And what I have seen within those is for capital, limited access to traditional financing. So they're struggling finding that traditional financing to help them improve their cash flow, or whether it be just finding the right loan that fits their needs. We're just seeing a huge need for the traditional financing. The other visibility, just time constraints. Small business owners are busy. They wear multiple hats. They're doing all the things, and they just have issues with their time constraint. They don't have enough time in the day. Of course not. And then staffing. Staffing is such a huge challenge within the communities these days, whether it be competition for talent or just retaining employees. We're seeing big turnovers, we're seeing, people finding other jobs within the community that are paying better. So just making sure that they can retain those employees is a huge challenge. And then, finally, regulation, that's always just a struggle just because it's always an additional cost, or it's so complex to stay within regulation. So it's definitely just a huge, challenge that our businesses are facing today. So as a chamber and, mutual business owner, trying to be a problem solver for these businesses, that is kind of the outlook that I have is, how can I help you? What can we do to help with these challenges? And the best tools that I have found is surveys or listening sessions or just some one-on-one time with business owners. As hard as it is, especially with business owners having time constraints, just finding a way to get with them and have conversations with them, it goes a mile. They appreciate it. They need that listening ear. They want to know that you're invested. So that is the best tool that I can present today, is just making sure you get that one-on-one time with your members. And then, of course, all small businesses and chambers have different needs, and that's always hard. So that's kind of where the surveys come in play. You know, a hospital is going to have different challenges than a hardware store. So just kind of making sure you are keeping track of what those businesses' challenges are, and taking surveys really just kind of helps you take it all in and help you become a better problem solver for them. So one thing that I wanted to ask you guys is, what is something that you recently learned about your businesses in your community that they might be struggling with? Is there anything that your small businesses might be facing, might be struggling with, or maybe even something that they've just seen huge success in? Have you guys noticed anything?
Well, I think being right on the border, it's like people not stopping in town, you know, so it's like they just pass through.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, the visibility, grabbing attention and all that sort of thing, to want people to stop.
Yeah.
Is probably one of the big ones.
Big challenges.
Big challenges.
Have you seen any businesses that have had any success doing that, or getting visibility?
Can't really think of anything off the top of my head, and you know, unfortunately, we've had more places just not make it close, and so that's been kind of hard when we've got these empty spaces, and then more people aren't going to stop because it's like there's only a few spaces that are thriving in a sense.
Yeah.
So that's tough.
Yeah. So visibility is important.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Have you seen anything?
Well, I think, I don't know if Oroville and OMAC share exactly the same challenges in terms of stopping. You have more people driving through.
Yeah.
Well, when we think of OMAC, it's a bigger community that people come to do kind of big box shopping.
Yeah.
But certainly the chamber members, I think, but we both have aging downtowns. And I think it's very hard to create positive visibility. Like, this is worth looking for a parking spot. We have one or two active businesses, but when everything kind of looks the same, and it looks like, oh, this is another, like, it's like secondhand shopping's great, but when the secondhand shops all kind of look alike, it doesn't make a tourist
Right.
a new dollar stop.
Great.
They might have the same local dollar that comes in and out of the store, you know, once a month or once a week or whatever. But they don't set new dollar stopping and getting that tourist to stop. And both Oroville and OMAC, because we both have pretty high level of tourism just driving through, adjacent to 97.
Yeah,
Right, you're right on
Yeah,
97.
ninety-seven
You-
goes
one of
right
the-
through it. Yeah.
You are like Tenasky are one of the few cities in Washington
Yeah.
that have a major highway going through that, and it should be good,
right?
but it
Right.
seems like we have an alternate route downtown, but our north
Yeah.
members of the chamber that are up in kind of the more commercial district, they have a 97 by them. So they have tourists
More
that will
visibility.
stop and all that, which is definitely still part of OMAC, but I think we're looking at our downtowns as being
Mhm.
really the visibility.
It's
Right,
building.
right, and like I say, the aging of the towns, and then and a lot of ours are closed, people aren't opening them up or for various reasons, they're in disrepair
And disrepair, insurance is hard to
Yeah.
get, or
Yes.
it's hard to get now.
Yes.
On these older buildings, like, you think of Coulee, you did such a great job of building the image of Grand Coulee, but lots of tourists.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that your little street
Right, yep, our,
looks thriving.
exactly, Grand Coulee struggles with the exact same thing.
Yeah.
We've got a downtown area that it all looks the same, and how do we show that these tourists that there's something exciting to come into these old buildings, for sure,
Right,
yeah, visibility is huge. One thing that we are seeing more and more are, these creative districts coming in and forming. There's Soap Lake, for example, they just formed a creative district and they just got, approved by Arts of Washington or Washington,
Oh.
State of Washington Arts. They got certified and they have many strategic plans in place. They are revitalizing their downtown. And it was just started with a group of business owners that came together and wanted their downtown to look better, to have that better visibility, to draw these tourists in.
Did Twist just get it as well?
I know Twist has it, I'm not sure where they got it.
They have it, a creative district.
Yes.
Have you ever even heard of that?
No.
Yeah, it's like, the process of that, I wanna know about that too.
Right, me too, and also you were talking about Washington Arts, did they get grants?
Yes, so it's all grant based through the State of Washington Arts.
Okay.
And they, again, just formed their own group, they had to start a new nonprofit. Soap Lakes, they're calling themselves the Friends of Lower Grand Coulee. And they are working with the state, arts department to create these plans within their downtown district. I have recently just seen a new plan that came out that they're gonna do a little museum, they're gonna revitalize one of their buildings for a little museum to turn it into, the Ice Age, they're gonna feature the Ice Age trail.
Yeah, that's that's kind of,
Yes.
and it kind of gets that other kind of tourist over there
That's a
too.
good-
Yeah.
That's a really good
Yeah.
one,
They're doing
yeah.
great. And so part of their grants that they're receiving is to help with capital improvements of their buildings, to increase signage and,
Capital improvements of the building?
yeah, so
Is it a lengthy process?
it is, it
Yes.
has been I think they're on year 3.
Yeah.
It has taken them quite a while, but they're making big steps for sure. I foresee Soap Lake being a new spot real soon.
Well, it was
Yeah,
a
it's
tourism
fun.
spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
Yeah.
it's, it's a little bit,
Get that
we're
good
all,
mud from the lake.
well, I've traveled Route 66, done all of it, and that's what you see on Route 66. All these quaint little towns that are ghost towns.
Exactly.
And it's like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
really, when we live in these towns that are like that, it's scary.
It is,
Yeah,
yes.
it is.
It's
Yeah,
scary.
it is,
Yeah.
it is.
So, and Soap Lake's one of those towns.
Yeah, so
Huh.
really exciting stuff happening there.
Can I just back up a
Yeah,
second?
yeah,
Is there specific information or where someone can go to get information about this creative district?
Yeah, I can send you the link to
Okay.
I can send you the link to the organization through Washington Arts, then I can also give you the contact information for the Friends of Lower Grand Coulee.
Perfect.
Of course, yeah. And then some other thoughts for visibility. One thing that I have found within the Grand Coulee area is really just taking reins with your marketing. The Chamber of Commerce in Grand Coulee has branched out and opened a visitor information center, so they're really trying to grasp that tourism. So they are really just pushing the tourism, and they have really curated a marketing, oh, the word I'm looking for, but their benefits for their chamber really revolve around marketing. They want to show and highlight their businesses within the community. So they're out creating reels for their businesses. They're out creating TikToks for their businesses. It feels like kind of silly, but it's working. It's doing great things within that community. People are finding things that they never knew were available within. It's definitely bringing in the younger generation that moved away and is
Right.
starting and kind of thinking about coming back. So that is, they've really made their benefits revolve around the marketing because they're struggling so much with visibility.
And so look, here's, I was at this workshop, and here's what they put, Grand Coulee gives they have these different membership benefits at different levels and all this. And we could get a copy of this for
Yeah.
her later, which they really, I mean, as you, a director, and then it's been passed on now to somebody else. They really developed a strategy for that. For us, it's like finding people
To take that on.
and the marketing.
Yep.
It's like you need a certain age
Yes,
person.
yes,
It's not necessarily has the has the skills to manage that and do it well.
Yes,
You know, it's like the rest of it, I don't do that.
right.
You know, we can make flower baskets, we can make,
We got the hands-on stuff.
The whole, like, I won't even say IT, but the
Yes.
whole new style of marketing,
Yes.
it's like postering, I mean, we'll put posters
Yeah,
up,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, in our communities, but that doesn't necessarily reach 8,000 people in a
Right.
click.
Right,
No.
yeah.
And finding, and is that what you do then? You
Yes.
do marketing?
I do.
Yeah, you do
Yeah.
marketing,
I
and
do
then
all the
that's,
social
because
media and stuff.
it's such a necessary.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, so, something that the chamber has done with like me, we host like one-on-one workshops all the time. So if you can find someone that's interested in social media, don't be afraid to bring them in and explain to them, be like, we are a chamber, we're a small business, and we just really need to improve our social media and online visibility. And this is how we need it to look. If you think you can help, give them a shot because you'll be surprised. Authenticity on social media is everything. So, that and then bring them in and have them talk about it, talk about their experience within the community, because just talking about it and just getting people brave enough to try it, that's gonna be your greatest.
How do you pay those people?
You know, it's
No, that's a.
yeah. So LTAC dollars is a big one because it technically falls into
For media,
marketing.
yeah,
Yep,
that's
yep.
true, that's true.
Or you can find there's so many grants out there nowadays for marketing because it is being
Through where?
State of Washington Tourism is a great start. They just closed their marketing and production grant. So they funded photography, videography, blog writing, all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely, they're a great start for tourism for sure.
One of the things that a woman that's recently come to Oregon. I'm not really sure, but she puts out what it's called a coffee news. Cute. Which is wonderful because it, particularly for me, people like me, and I say this, I'm not a Facebook person, but I want to have information. And it's great, and she's got it set out in different places, and she's finding more and more, and it just gives highlights of the businesses, the organizations, and the school, and it's like 2 pages, but I think it's really a cool thing.
And that's another challenge that we're seeing within these rural communities, because we have such a diverse range of ages within our communities. You really kind of have to grasp all channels, all of them, whether it be printing posters, these printed out newsletters,
Right,
social media, all the things, which is so hard as a small business or a small chamber with
Yes.
one employee. How do you
Yes.
do all the things?
yes,
But even if it's just a post or two a week and then a newsletter, something is better than nothing.
Yeah.
For sure.
yeah, I mean, she's got it posted at a couple different places, and I'm helping her put it out now, those places, and I thought, well, if I bring it into maybe some of the businesses, because some of the businesses haven't even seen, it's like Gillian Second Chance, I help her out, time to time, anyway, and I brought it in, she said, oh, I've never seen this before, but it's like, it brings the whole concept of the whole community together too. Not just the businesses, but what's going on in town. They get an idea of, that what the kids are doing at the schools and all of that, those different things. So I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so many things and it's hard to keep up with all of it. And like you said, and then finding the right person to manage it all. It's so hard, but you can do it. It's possible.
Yeah, yeah. That's great.
Yeah, and then the next thing. So the other thing that we're really finding is building business resources and mentorship programs. We have found that this is just what businesses are looking for. It helps with retention, it helps just keep your members engaged, it helps the community come together. There's just so many things out there. I know the Chamber of Commerce in Grand Coulee focused so much for so long on providing events for the community, but it burned our Chamber of Commerce out so bad, and it burns communities out so much. There are so many other great things out there that you can do for your businesses that don't entail a huge event. I personally put on 12 a year and I burned out so quick. I could not keep up with that. It's not sustainable. So definitely taking the lead and trying to steer your chamber past those events is important.
So how do the mentorships work?
Yeah, so what I have found is I don't know if I was lucky, but I came on in the chamber during the pandemic. And I was a one staff chamber of commerce when I was there. So thankfully I didn't have to leave the office. I was able to be in the office, but it gave me a ton of time to do a ton of research because nobody would be able to come in. And we couldn't do events. So I have found this would be a great tool for you guys. There's something on Facebook called Chamber Professionals. And it is a group specifically for chambers. And there is every resource you could possibly need to really bring your chamber to its full potential. They have resource guides in there, they have policies in there, they have board handout books in there, they have benefit ideas, they have event ideas, everything you could ever think of is in this group, and they have it all saved in a file in the group on Facebook. And that's truly where I learned so much about the chamber. And where I kind of it's really hard because, every community is so unique. And so what I'm doing is not exactly what you're gonna do, and what you're doing is not what the other community is gonna do. But I try to find some similarities between other chambers and my chamber. And creating a mentorship program was huge for me because we were in the middle of the pandemic. And so it was like nobody was out doing anything to represent the chamber because we were all stuck inside. And so I decided to take my friend group and create a chamber ambassador program. And I just educated them on what the chamber was. And just had them out talking about the chamber and what it does for the community, because I cannot tell you how many times I got asked, does the chamber do? What is a
Yeah,
chamber of
yeah.
commerce? I don't know. So that I just took my friend group and was like, here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm trying to accomplish, here are my goals. Tell everybody, talk about it. And so they became what I called chamber ambassadors. They just were knowledgeable within the chamber, or friends of the chamber is what you could call them. And I just made sure they knew what they were talking about as far as the chamber, and had their own education. And it just helps you, because then they could come back to me and say, well, this business really likes what you're trying to accomplish, but they think this. It gives you just more voices within the community.
So the mentors are actually the friends, is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yep. The other thing that I found too was so many small businesses were lacking help in different areas of their business and things that they needed. So we had a business that really needed help within like the legal area. So I would take my connection of knowing a lawyer within the community and introduce them and give them the opportunity to have a one-on-one time. So I tried, this was post-pandemic, but once we were able to open the office doors, I would schedule time within my office to let people come in and meet with different people that they needed to meet. So if it was marketing, they needed some help in the marketing world, they could come in and talk to me at the time, but it could be
So there's an
anybody.
office, there's a
Yeah.
chamber office.
Yes.
Is there a chamber office?
We have a small office, it's in the realtor.
Yeah.
And it can be anywhere. I notice like a lot of the times I would love to meet with people over coffee at our local coffee bar. Keep it casual. People they get intimidated wanting to come in and have this big thing. Trying to keep it casual and easygoing and just a conversation really helped. Definitely doesn't have to be in an
Ours
office.
is more like for storage, and then we've got the printer, I mean, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff there. That kind of stuff,
Yeah.
so we don't really, it's not a meeting place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I found was the chamber, when I came in, didn't really have like any guides or policies in place. We went from the person before me taught me what to do, but there was nothing in writing. Like if I were to drop dead the next day, there was nothing to explain how to do the job. There was no rules or order, anything to follow. And so that again was where that chamber professionals group really came into place. I was able to get in their files and see, what other policies chambers are following, and just kind of copy and make it fit our needs and what we needed.
So your position is a paid position?
It is, yeah. So how we managed that was for a long time, events for what paid me. And that's why we were doing 12 a year, because we were funding my position out of events. But then we were seeing the burnout before me, they had gone through 4 employees, and it just
Right.
wasn't, and you could never determine how much money you were gonna bring
Right.
in, and so that was always scary, and it was just not easy. So what they found to do is, with LTAC dollars, they can hire an event coordinator or a director or a marketing person or whichever. That person has to have a business. They have to be a business, and so they were able to pay somebody out of those funds.
Okay, the person that's actually, like, you would have to have a business.
Correct.
And, okay.
Yeah, so I'm a contractor in this basic.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's,
So can I say something?
yeah.
That, June 20th, there's an LTAC meeting. Where is it at? So it explains the application
Yeah,
process for the
I
LTAC.
was at one a few years back,
Yeah.
so I understand that. It was actually, where the commissioners meet, or, they're the office.
So you went to the LTAC to get the LTAC.
Yeah,
Well, this is a workshop on how to
Yeah.
apply,
Yeah.
right?
because,
Yeah.
and that's what they did too at that
Oh,
time.
good. Oh,
Yeah,
good.
They did that,
Yeah, because a lot of people just don't get it right.
They don't
Yeah.
understand it.
Yeah, and so they get
and
there
also-
and it's like the
And there's funds also from the cities,
Yes,
LTAC funds from the cities and the county.
yes.
They make it a
another
little
thing.
bit easier application
Right.
process.
Yeah.
Right, right, so can you utilize it, the city's funds in the same manner? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I found, it was our board was turning over really fast because people just weren't understanding what a board position was, what they were supposed to contribute, and how it worked. So I went again into that chamber of professionals group and found board policies and procedures, and I created a toolkit for our board members to really just kind of give them a step-by-step guide of what the chamber is, what their expectation should be, what we expect of them, those kinds of things. So I tried to create little toolkits. I tried to create a board toolkit, a chamber like representative toolkit. If I wanted volunteers to go out and speak on behalf of the chamber, here's what I just need you guys to know, here's what I need you guys to do. And then event volunteers, created a toolkit for them. Small businesses and memberships, like I created a toolkit of like what those businesses should expect from us and what we want to do for them in return. Sounds like a lot of paperwork and a lot of things, but it really just helped set those lines and expectations.
Is there a possibility of sharing those?
Definitely,
Okay.
yeah, we'll send those to you. Yeah,
When did you meet as a chamber?
so when
Like the regular,
monthly, as a board or with our chamber members?
Both.
Both. So for our board, we met monthly, the third Wednesday of the month.
what time?
We met at 6.
Yeah.
In the evening,
Yeah.
okay?
Yep. And then with our chamber members, we didn't have monthly like meetings. We did a coffee chat, almost kind of what she was talking about. We call them lunch and learns.
Yeah, we have lunch, yeah.
Yep, and we did those every Thursday. And those kind of fluctuated. We did it at lunchtime. But we tried for a long time to do it every week. That seemed to not be working. We had less attendance. So then we kind of shifted to bi-monthly, and that's kind of where we stuck. That's what
Do
hit.
you have meetings? Well, monthly, we have one, yeah,
At lunch?
yeah, a lunch meeting and where we actually introduced a lot of the new businesses that have come into town, and then also the kids that were running for the Mayday Queen and all of that sort of thing, what they were doing and FBLA, you know, that kind of stuff, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would just like a lunch meetings.
Yeah.
They do lunch meetings. You're asking these small businesses to step out of the business. at lunch.
Yeah, it was really hard.
That to me, that's like, when they hear chamber, they're like, I don't have time to be involved.
Yes.
Well, and that's true,
Yeah.
that's true,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, I was surprised how many people did come to that particular.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm surprised sometimes when I look around the room, it's not always business people. It's
Right.
people in social agencies, it's people
Right.
in, not the businesses.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of wondering how other places deal with that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did the lunch and
You don't get any
learns.
restaurant participation,
Right,
you know, not
Yeah.
that we have restaurants
That's
and bars, very many.
right.
You don't
That's
have
true.
those, you don't have any of those shop owners, cause they're espresso stands, all that stuff that is like the bulk of our retail
Yeah.
businesses
Yeah.
right now, small retail
Yeah, small,
businesses.
small.
So
Yeah.
one thing that cause we struggled with the same thing, we
Yeah.
did the lunch and learns. We use the lunch and learns as a, cause we switched to bi-monthly. We use that as a resource to connect our members with industry professionals. So we always brought in speakers. We had like WSU extensions come in. We had, trying to think, some travel people come in, those kinds of things. So then it was more of like, okay, this is worth taking our lunch to come in for. But then we also, to switch gears and really cater to those industries, we did a business after hours. So that was, we did once a month we did Thursday nights, and it was 5:30 to about 7:30, and we would just bring in all these business owners and host small bites and drinks. And sometimes we would bring in industry experts if we had something really big and exciting. Or we would just use it as a networking opportunity to talk amongst each other within the community. And those worked out wonderfully. actually, those were great because
Did you go to different businesses?
we
to do
did,
that?
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
That's what
showcase.
OMAC has been doing.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's kind of surprising, you go into some of it, you're like, oh, I thought I'd been here.
yeah, yeah, so,
Different kinds of businesses,
Yeah.
not the restaurants.
Yeah,
just make sure I cover everything, let's see.
yeah, we're big in.
No, you're great, I love it.
All right.
No, I love it. No, I think we covered everything on there. Let's see.
So have you ever had, I mean, I know that like AARP, you know, volunteer positions that sometimes, by one can get, you know, paid positions for people. Is there anything that can be bridged to, say, chambers or parks?
Maybe, I never went down that route, but I have heard of it, so it's possible, it's definitely, so that's one thing it kind of falls into this. So advocate for your chamber, go to everything, go to all the meetings, as many connections or things you hear about. That is everything, that is where you're gonna learn, that's where you're going to find resources you need. I can't tell you the amount of connections that I've made just going to these meetings that I had no idea what they were about. I just started going because it.
You mean other groups?
Correct, yeah, so of course, Economic Alliance, I sat on the board for a while, I had no idea what Economic Alliance did when I started. But I've learned some great things, I've taken these workshops that they've hosted, great things. I joined OCTC, Okanagan County Tourism Council, saw what they were doing, how can I bring that to our region, how do I work with that, what they're offering. Grant County also has a tourism council, I've sat on that, there's Northwest Native Development Fund in Grand Coulee, I've spoke with them, gone to their workshops. The more and more you can put yourself in those places and in those positions, even if it's just sitting on a Zoom call, you will be shocked the amount of things you can walk away from and bring back to your community.
Yeah, we have a group called the Oroville Initiative up there, and I'm part of that as well, too, and a number of us are both chamber and the Oroville Initiative, and so it does help with the communication of what's going on, and it's like, when we're talking about one thing, we're thinking, also think, oh, well, this could go for this too, you know, and another,
Well, and another thing that I have seen is a lot of people within the community don't go to the city council meetings. And it's amazing how much you learn at the city council meetings, obviously.
Right.
And so knowing those things and staying on top of those things and being able to bring them back, because our small business owners can't go to those meetings, they don't have time, back to the time constraint things. And so being able to go to those in place for them, or sending someone on behalf of the chamber to go to those things and bringing it back so you guys have that knowledge and know what's going on, your small businesses are gonna appreciate that.
Community commitment.
Exactly.
And I think that's what's interesting with Patty and I at this point, because I ran into her in Oroville at a thrift store. And we were talking, and then I was like, and I had just retired from 45 years in the restaurant industry.
Oh, wow.
And so I supposedly have more time, but I don't.
No.
Because I also have two other, you know, but it was interesting that we both have been part of our community for decades and decades and decades, and now, which I think I'm making time for more community commitment because I like where I live and I don't want to see it drop. It's like I feel like we're at this teeter-totter point within especially our downtown communities. North Romac is pretty strong, but you know, you don't have it in North Romac. I mean, you have, you know, you have some successful stores, but like
but now the Canadians are not coming
character.
down.
Yep.
Right.
And
So how do you get people up valley? How do you get them more and that? Like I think the Methow Valley does a wonderful job of promoting themselves.
They do.
You know, and they do a lot of it to themselves. It's like singing to the choir, right? Well, our Okanagan Valley doesn't do enough to, I mean, Economic Alliance is so much towards, they do so much, but the
Yeah.
community,
Yeah.
it's like
yeah.
helping them see themselves in a better light.
Yes, I agree, in a positive light, and
Yes.
wanting to get together and do
Yeah.
things together.
Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
that
It is
sort
so important to make that connection with your community and educate them why it is important, like.
Yeah, to go to a city
Yeah,
council meeting.
inspire them.
I call myself, instead of retired, repurposed.
Oh, I like that.
Repurpose, I like that,
Yes.
okay, I
There you
like
go.
that.
Yeah.
Let's see. I like that, Patty.
Well-
It makes sense.
Yes, and there's so many things that happen at those city council meetings that we're seeing people not going to and not participating in. That the chamber should advocate on behalf of businesses for them and knowing that this is happening and knowing.
Well, it
that
creates a divide too between the city and the chamber.
It does.
If the chamber isn't necessarily represented in a consistent way, it's easy for them to say, why is the chamber doing it? And townspeople and chamber say, why isn't the city doing it?
Yes,
There's
true.
a confusion of roles.
Yes, true, that's
Like-
absolutely
Like they
true.
should be doing this, like
Yes.
you're saying problems, litter,
Yes.
vandalism, break-ins,
Yes,
those kinds of things.
Yeah,
The, core business people see that as the responsibility of the police and the city. And the city and police see that as like kind of a problem.
Yeah.
For the businesses, oh, you don't have cameras,
yeah,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
yeah,
you want us to pick up the litter, well, we are
yeah,
trying to get the storm drains clean.
right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah,
gap there.
yeah, yeah,
right?
of
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah,
what's-
making
yeah.
sure your presence is there is so
It's a
important.
kind of a human nature thing too, where it's like a way of kind of passing on that commitment
Yeah.
and like, oh, they should do it.
Right,
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah. One thing that we are seeing right now within our chamber and our city is, same thing, visibility, back to visibility. The business owners are really frustrated with all the empty buildings sitting within
Yes.
Grand Coulee.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
And yeah, everybody knows, and so the city has heard the chamber, heard the small businesses. And the chamber and the city are currently working together to tax property owners for their empty buildings.
And was that part of,
Oh,
I don't think it was exactly Ronnie that did it all, but there was a whole study done about what other cities did about vacant buildings, right?
Yeah, I don't,
Was that economical?
We have a vacant buildings presentation that we can.
Oh, I love
incorporate
that.
Yeah,
that research.
Oh, it's really
yeah,
interesting
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like, how does the city feel good about getting teeth?
Yep.
Right, like
Yeah.
especially when they have a personal relationship with those building owners.
Yep. Yeah.
Because they've aged out, those
Right.
buildings have aged, and yet they're part of it,
yes,
like,
Oh, yeah, they're right there.
yeah,
well, I know, but they're attached.
Oh, yeah.
They're causing problems for next door
Yes,
neighbors,
yes,
and
yes.
yet this is the guy who had the real estate company.
Yeah.
For generations, and his kids were footballs, but now he's,
Mhm.
or it's been, it's inherited
Yeah,
property,
yes,
like vacant inherited property.
maybe a couple of those,
Yeah,
Well, I can tell you, within the Grand Coulee area, it is making waves for sure. People are not too sure about being taxed. We already have 3 buildings getting demoed because of it.
oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's definitely showing signs of improvement. It's gonna be interesting to watch it all play out, but yeah, it has been it's been really neat to watch the chamber and the city work together and
like kind of each other's backs then, right? I
Yep.
mean, the city is just, they don't want another problem with somebody else, but if they feel like legally they can do it.
yeah. So for sure, have a presence, whether it be a director or representative, go advocate for your business, advocate for your chamber, because it makes a difference, for sure. Let's see, what else do I have here? So strategic partnerships with businesses and municipalities, just kind of what we've been talking about. members want return on investment, they want outcomes, they don't want just goodwill. Of course, we see it time to time again, not promises are made, no follow through.
Talk the talk.
Yeah, exactly, they wanna see a return. Some of the things that you can use to kind of help mitigate this is, use your success stories, use your testimonials, get them out there. But make sure your membership benefits are clear and they know what they're getting. That is one of the greatest things, is setting the standard and what you're gonna put out for them. That is gonna be the key to success. Making sure they know what they're gonna get and then following through with that. We love this list that we have because it's a very easy breakdown of what they're gonna get, and we can keep track and follow through and make sure that we're gonna put that out for them. Another great tool, if you guys get to this point, social media analytics. Because the chamber is so heavily focused in marketing, we go out and do these videos for them, or we do posts for them. We share those analytics with our business members. We show them, hey, this post got this many clicks. This many people are viewing your post. Same thing with the newsletter. You could say, hey, we got a call from this business who wanted 100 more copies because they're just flying through it. Use those stories, those things that you see are working well within your community, and play on that. Pick what's working well and build around that. That is what will keep your members happy and engaged and coming back.
Yeah, because it's kind of like getting them back,
Yes,
you know?
yeah.
And, you know, I mean, our chamber definitely went through this whole thing, you know, and might be about.
Well,
4 or 5 years ago.
yeah, well, all,
I mean,
yeah, well, we all, like,
But-
the chambers have kind, yeah, they-
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
they,
But sometimes people don't realize there's a new group in town.
Right.
There's new, or not in town, but you know, that are taking up, it's like I'm saying, well, things do change.
we
you
didn't
know?
even,
It's
we
like-
still don't even have a way of paying online for your membership.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's like mail it, we're gonna invoice you and mail us or bring the
You
money.
know, I'm not
Paying
sure
on-
they have that
Paying
either,
on,
but I
right,
don't.
paying online for your membership.
Yeah.
Or, we don't even, we're still working on an accurate email list. Because we have some,
Yeah.
post office, we have it's post office box, physical address, right? You have a difference between those two.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then a lot of these businesses are the email address to get it to the right person, right? It's like, who's in charge of writing the check? And they're writing a check and not clicking a button.
Yes.
But I mean,
Mhm.
It's important because they don't have time.
they don't have time, and
Yeah.
and also it's easy, this is, here's my power bill, here's my insurance bill, so what's gonna happen to that chamber bill?
Yeah.
It's gonna keep. And our dues are in January.
So one thought for you guys.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I've noticed within my business, within chamber, back to the business members or small business owners don't have time. They're always in a hurry. They got a stack of bills, stack of to-dos that they need to do. And getting them to remember to pay those dues, if it's just a paper sheet, it's so hard. Like it's not their priority.
Oh, no, as a business for like my
Yeah.
restaurant, it would be
Yeah.
like in January.
Exactly.
Forget it.
Yeah, yeah.
I got
So-
quarterlies.
Yeah.
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 Okay,
Not worried about
so
it.
but January's the
Yeah.
best time to start it, but
Yeah.
it's hard
Yeah.
to
To remind
Yeah.
people to get it paid.
So couple ideas for you guys there. One thing that I did was we started an early bird promotion where they could renew at the end of summer season because that was their peak season. They had the cash flow coming through and they weren't so busy with all the end of the year turnaround things that they have to get done that are way more important. But another thought is if you can get an online payment portal, walking around with your phone or an iPad or a computer and being like, it's
There you
here
go.
right now, let's fill it out,
Huh.
press the button and go. That was the simplest, easiest way to get people right there on the spot, quick, easy,
Man,
and
I
done.
can't, I don't mind doing, approaching them, but like, here, wait, wait, have you seen this on Facebook? Wait, I have a picture right. I will need help with that, for sure.
So you're saying like a scan, that yeah,
Or
The
you
QR
can
code.
even do like, the Grand Chamber has it.
Oh, so we can look up.
You
the-
should.
you know, they may have it, because I know that they've updated a lot, that's the one thing that's been kind of good lately, is that they've got some good people working on their IT stuff.
Yes, that's
So,
great.
Yeah.
So the chamber, they have, like, this is their top tier, it says all the things, you can hit join now, and it's just an online form that they can fill out. So if you really know who you're approaching, you can fill it all out before then, and then hit the button and then just let them enter their card information, just right there.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, don't let
Yeah,
them
we're
site.
yeah, I don't, yeah, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I have found
Go
that.
ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I have found trying to really limit the work that they have to do is the best.
Well, I mean, you go into a hair salon and there's, 3 people working. And the person that owns the business doesn't actually, they don't necessarily own the building. And they're also, and if you get each one of those, to sign up, of those gals, run the chairs to sign up, that's great.
Yeah,
Even if it's just $25
Right.
sole membership, because then they're in so the early bird promotion, how'd you do that?
so we just gave a 10% discount. Yep,
Okay.
yeah, keep it nice and simple, they got 10% off for joining early.
And, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the other thing to really get people on board with joining the chamber is defining your chamber's value. Again, back to I don't know what a chamber of commerce is, I don't know what a chamber does, I just don't know, I don't wanna be a part, cause I don't understand. I struggled through that for so long. So many people thought that the chamber just put on events, and I can tell you there was even people who didn't know the chamber put on events. They just thought it was magically there.
Yeah.
So really sitting down and taking a moment to define your chamber and what your chamber does well and what you want your community to know the chamber for. Creating a mission statement, a vision statement, you can go that far, but you don't have to. It is just a quick, clear sentence that what is your chamber known for, or what your chamber sets you apart. And then creating, again, those exclusive member benefits. Know your chamber's strengths, know what you guys are doing well, and building your chamber benefits around that. It may not be marketing, it may be networking, it may be just really well representation, it may be the events. Build your benefits around that, know what you're doing well and build it around that. That's what's gonna set you apart.
Can I go back to something?
Yeah.
You talked about a person that in order to have a position that's paid under this LTAC fund, you have to have business. So we're talking about businesses that are being busy.
But they
So-
don't have, so it's not really a business, they just have to be a contractor.
So we get, okay,
Yeah,
I mean,
okay,
so
yeah,
what was so interesting with this last meeting that I went
This
to,
is what I'm in.
Is that- is that the chamber hired a business.
Right.
So the chamber is its own entity, but
Okay.
it can hire with the money you get from your LTAC, if I'm right,
Correct.
a business. So anyone, it takes half an hour to become a business
Yeah.
in state of Washington,
Yeah, and you
right?
don't actually have to do other business work.
No, so you can just be a consulting business.
Right.
And then the chamber can hire you as a consultant.
Correct.
And then you're responsible for your income. So you have to, it's your income, so now you have to report it, all that, but the chamber pays it out. So the chamber doesn't actually, is that right?
Yes,
How you
yep,
guys
yep,
set it up?
you're on it.
Is that how
Okay, because I was
Washington
trying to
do it?
figure this out when you said something.
Don't know.
Yeah, it was so,
Yep.
Yeah.
it was like, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Now you,
Yeah.
even if the director is a volunteer, for instance,
Yep.
you can hire like Coulee Dam is now Wavy Petals or somebody is, and they see incubating business as part of their goal. So what you set up is that now they hired
We do petals.
Wavy Panels, a new place, which I don't, that's, but, to do marketing and that kind of stuff. So you can have, multiple people
Yeah.
doing one for marketing and one for membership, or one for maintaining, visitors information center and chamber of commerce.
Yeah.
Like our OMAC has a visitors information center, it gets, I mean, they work hard for, they
Yeah.
sit over there.
Oh, yeah.
You day and
Yeah.
day
Yeah.
with people coming some and not coming some, but they're paid through that LTAC money.
I will say, in my 5 years with the chamber, how a chamber employee paid is a very lucrative thing. No, it's not talked about.
Right.
Nobody knows.
Right.
And
This
it
is why I'm interested in
It
finding
is.
out
And
more
like
about
that, I explored that chamber professionals group, couldn't find a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
Well,
very
it's so smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then it's your income tax, you're not having, you don't have. It's not L and I, it's not like you're an independent contractor, so that chamber isn't have any.
Responsibility,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
that's a great.
liability.
Yeah, thank you, yes.
Yeah, chamber then its liability is changed,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and you could hire someone to do events.
Yes. Yeah, so that's, the Chamber of Commerce in Grand Coulee has done that, they have hired their director, they have hired, I'm their marketing person. They have hired an event coordinator, they have hired, their visitor center information person that staffs their visitor center all day long. I think that's it. They might have a couple more, but I'm pretty sure.
And all through the LTAC.
All through the
Wow. So when they went to apply for the LTAC fund, did they include that when they are applying as far as what they were gonna use it for?
And so each one they apply for differently,
Yes,
so the marketing was
Right.
an LTAC.
yes.
The visitors information center was an LTAC request, that's why they said that workshop is important, because you can't just go with a generalized. Chamber needs this for this, it's like they need this, you can't lump them all together.
Right, oh, I see, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they've also in turn, they find other avenues to supplement too, if it's not enough or they want more, or they need to go further and do something bigger, so.
Economic alliance
Exactly, or Washington State Tourism has their grants, so if they have other bigger projects they wanna take on, then they find other things as well, or event revenue too. So the chamber does keep their events, they like doing them, they like what it provides for the community, but they've had to branch out and hire event coordinators, cause there's
And
no way,
volunteers.
exactly.
Right, like the, like Colorama.
Yep,
Right, we're talking about the volunteers.
Yeah, there's no volunteers anymore, and I see Stampede hitting that point too, where
Yeah.
it's like staffing.
You were talking about aging out.
yeah,
Well, and staffing is, there's a different sense of volunteerism than there used to be,
yes,
there's like, just, Colorado used to run all the volunteers,
exactly.
Stampede as well.
Not
And-
anymore.
No, you can't, it's hard to get people.
Yeah.
So then how, if they're only paid, I mean, for that amount of time, the volunteer, they can be paid for that, just that strictly a small amount of
I
time?
don't know on the volunteer, I
Oh,
have not
okay.
had a
Well,
candidate.
the volunteers anymore.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, they don't do volunteers, so now what the chamber does, they've hired the event coordinators. They hire a bartending service for their beer garden, they hire their entertainment to come in, so there's no volunteers. Everything is ran by a different entity or organization. So, yeah. It's expensive for like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Let's see, what else do I have? Yep, so kind of back, I guess, a little bit to events. Offer programs that aren't just events. I am an advocate for trying to get away from events. Like I said, our chamber loves them, they do them and they do them well. But it is not sustainable because unless you can keep that funding coming in to pay all those things, it can definitely get expensive fast. If you don't get the funding, then what, those kinds of things. So trying to just be prepared and ready if you can't do those events, steering yourself away from that or having other things.
Such as.
So the business after hours, do things like that. The Moses Lake Chamber of Commerce does, what do they call it? Can't remember the name of it, but they do a small golfing tournament just for their business members. So everybody can get out and do something fun and get to know each other. Kind of an event, but also something different. Trying to think of what else, workshops like this is great. Hosting just little things to help your members grow their business or learn more about the community. It can be something as simple as, hey, come in and learn about what our city's trying to accomplish right now, like the taxing the empty buildings. Come in and learn about it. Here's what we're doing. Here's where we need you to step in, those kinds of things. Just building small programs that aren't so much effort, but also so great for your community. Those are important. And then just taking advantage of digital networking, like I said, joining those other boards, seeing what other communities are doing, going to those things. You can learn so many more things that other communities are doing, and just lots of opportunities out there to bring things into your community. I've gone to events and I found people that were looking to expand into the Coulee community area, so I helped them make a connection, and now we had a new business come in just from going to another event. We've had the opportunity to introduce contractors with people who are trying to bring in a senior living facility in the Grand Coulee area, and now they've started their own organization and trying really hard to bring in that facility. Just connecting those people, it's just, I know it sounds so small, but it is such a huge impact, and that's so much what our chamber should be and what they should be doing for ourselves.
It's chamber members that are often just the event is what, they have an idea for an event.
Yeah.
And then they,
Another-
you can get buried. in
Yes.
these events.
Another thing that we did too is trying to steer other organizations and businesses to take over events. That's a great way to, like, if I used to get approached a lot with businesses wanting to do this at an event or create this new event or make this event bigger and better. And it was not something I could take on that was by myself at the time. And so encouraging those businesses to step up and take that responsibility is a great way to see that event carry on.
Or to be a support for them?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So for example, when I was in the Chamber of Commerce, we had hosted the Triple Fish Challenge, and it was a fishing tournament on Bates Lake. I know nothing about fishing. I love it. My husband loves it. Like, I'm really glad that we have fishing in our community. It's a great tourism draw, but I know nothing about it. And so I had a local group that fished. They're part of a fishing a fishing club. They're obsessed with fishing. They did the Triple Fish Challenge every year. So I encouraged them to take on that event, and now they're doing it, and they have grown it, and it's fantastic. They're called Real Recreation. They started their own nonprofit. They've added a day to the tournament. They've done great things, and now it's not the chamber's responsibility. The chamber supports them as we market for the event. We use our tourism to draw people to the event. We help them with finding marketing opportunities. We help connect them with, we help them start their nonprofit as far as connecting them with a lawyer, connecting them with a financial advisor, all of those things. That's how we supported them. So that is a great way to kind of steer off events if needed too.
Yes, yeah.
And then same thing with Colorama. Colorama is really starting to grow into the Ridge Riders. The Ridge Riders are the ones that host our rodeo for Colorama. And they're doing such fabulous things, and they're growing the rodeo to be this great big rodeo. And they have wanted to branch into vendors. They wanted to branch into kids things. And so and then their parade is extremely important to them because all their royalty goes through the parade. And so now I'm watching the chamber, they're in this middle ground of like, who's doing what? Who's gonna control this part and do this thing? And so I think eventually we're gonna see it merge into being just the rodeo and the rodeo doing the whole shebang.
So the rodeo is a PRCA, right, rodeo,
Correct.
so that's like one of the first early get out there, the barrel ride.
Yep.
All it, and people don't really, if you're not in the rodeo world, you don't really know
No.
that Grand Coulee's got one of the, in this area, one of the earliest pro rodeo circuit, so they get incredible talent.
Well, and the
You get,
Canadian,
you get that spring talent,
yeah,
from this area, and it's like, it's,
it's great.
people drive hundreds
Oh,
of
yeah,
miles
yeah,
start getting their points for their professional rodeo.
I
Right?
see.
See, so it's like,
Yeah.
it's like pro rodeo circuit,
Mhm.
Yes.
but it's kind of like those of us in our area, we think it's Stampede, but if you wanted to go see a professional barrel racer that is going to possibly be in Vegas, that's where you go. And a lot of people in our area don't
Don't
know that
realize the
unless you're
different
in that
levels.
circuit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and what we're seeing within the community that's struggling with Colorama is, we've got the Ridge Riders who put on the rodeo, and then the chamber who puts on like the festival portion. And we've got these two entities going to this one small community for all these sponsorships to help make this thing happen. And that, yes. and
Like, I already donated. No,
Yes,
you didn't, you
yes.
donated
You
to,
donated that, but not this.
yeah.
And that is killing our small businesses, having to be hit up multiple times for multiple events by multiple entities. It's a lot to ask of these small businesses.
yeah.
And of course they want to support them, they love it, but that's a lot. And so, and then the chamber is seeing this huge shift in I'm drawing a blank on the word, the legalities, like the insurance costs are insane.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big
The
part.
liability
Yeah.
is nuts, we can't get carnivals to come to the area anymore.
carnivals are gone,
They're
right?
gone,
I mean,
and,
oh man, at Stampede, can't, Davis shows is out.
yeah,
Because of the,
yep, because of insurance and all the regulations
We
and all
can't
the
even go
rules.
horseback riding these days, you know?
Right.
Yeah, and so the chamber's portion of the festival is, I don't wanna say dying, but it is
gotta
severely,
be
it is so
really
small.
brought down to,
Yeah, and so they are just struggling to hang on to the festival portion of it, and so Colorama is just making a big shift. I think we're really gonna see Ridge Riders take it over and expand, and it's gonna be Western themed vendors and Western kid events, and it's just gonna shift. There's just big shifting things, and so I think that is what's gonna happen more and more in these small communities, is these other entities taking over things other than the chamber, and the chamber is gonna take a step back and focus on business and advocating for businesses and showing the businesses what's important, so.
so, totally off subject, it's typical, but like, I think events and businesses, they now, for the public, have to provide an experience.
Yes.
It has to, like, if it becomes a Western, I mean, you think about Pendleton,
Mhm.
not that, Colorama can be Pendleton,
Right.
but Pendleton's a bulky, big, huge event. But there's a sense that if you've been in Pendleton, when it's not the rodeo, it can be a sleepy-ish
Yeah.
little town,
For sure.
right? But that the whole community comes together for that event, and it's definitely got a style to it,
Yes.
And
So,
and businesses, I think, to stay open now and to make money, you have to have that experience.
Yes.
People don't want
Yes,
just, they want,
Yeah,
they're like our phones.
Yep,
They
yes,
want this,
yeah.
they walk in the
Yeah,
door,
yeah.
they want it to feel like
Yeah,
something.
yeah. So the
Yeah.
the advice that I have given our local chamber is, because they, even with our event coordinators, it is still, they are running dry with 12 events a year. The advice that I've given them from my past experience, as well as what I see within the community, is if the chamber needs to keep in events, focus the events on what your chamber does well. So I think that our chamber really does well with tourism. So I have recommended to them that they keep the 4th of July festival because that is a very tourism based festival. I think that they should grow that festival and make it this huge experience, grand thing, because that is tourism. That is going to put these heads in beds. It's gonna benefit our businesses during the 4th of July. And Colorado really could do that too, but I think that it really just needs to be more focused.
I mean, you have fireworks.
We have,
Yeah,
we have
yeah.
a group right now that's formed for the semi-quincentennial, which is next year.
Yes, huge.
So that's, and it's all specifically around the 4th of July, so, yeah, that's, and so they grow.
This, tell me what the semi.
That's the
America's 250th birthday.
Semi, okay.
Semi-quincentennial.
Bills.
No.
America.
It's
America.
And next year we have the big soccer tournament over in Seattle coming
Yeah.
in. Our next year's tourism is going to nuts
Yeah.
because European travelers follow the soccer thing
Right,
insanely well, and they're gonna come in Europe. They get months of vacation at
Right.
a time. They get holidays,
yes,
so they're all gonna travel over here for
Yes.
months.
Well, they're gonna look for
And travel.
they're gonna look for cowboys.
yeah,
They,
there you go.
and driving. When you look at Europe, you can't get in a car and drive for 4 or 5 hours through mountainscape
Yeah,
and not hit borders and just have kind of that that experience.
Yeah, we're
That's what they love. They're like, or ones I've talked to, they're like, well, it's just so fun to just get in a car and just shoot through.
we're gonna see a huge tourism experience next year.
That's good.
Yeah.
Just keep her dead, that's okay.
and when is that?
That is in June of next year, or maybe it's July, June or July
Oh,
next
boy,
year.
July.
Yeah, that period, from June, I think, to August is gonna be huge. Yeah. I think we're almost through it all, but the last thing I have is just retention strategies to keep people coming back. Create your benefit plan, on board and get your members engaged with what you're gonna offer them. Give them a list of the things that you're gonna do for them. They're gonna love that, and then you can just follow and check off everything that you've offered them. And then making sure, I saw the biggest difference in the first 90 days. You can hit it right on in 90 days. They'll be happy, they're gonna stay involved, and you'll get a return on your investment for sure.
Can you tell me that 90 days, we just see that?
So in our chamber, we didn't start in January because we saw the same thing, nobody had time, so we had a fluctuating year, which it is a lot to kind of keep track of, but it was easier for our members and what worked better, so we had just kind of a flowing calendar. So we had members that would join in October and their year ended in October. We had members join in January, their year ended in January. So I created this master Excel spreadsheet and just kind of kept track of all those things. And then it was based on their membership level. So if they got these things at this membership tier, I'd have all these boxes and making sure that I'm checking those boxes and making sure they got it.
Okay.
I would
So
try.
follow up. Like,
Yeah, and I would try to get a bulk of their benefits, not all of them, but a good, like, the biggest, like, important ones to them. I try to get those done within the first 90 days. Cause it's that instant gratification. They love that, you know? They're like, yes, they got me right in, I got it done, I got what I paid for, those kinds of things.
Yeah, it's like the welcoming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, welcoming committee, yeah. So within those first 90 days, if you can do that, and it is hard, there are so many hats as a chamber person, but you can do it, that's what they wanna see. And then just celebrating what they're doing, their accomplishments, their successes, their anniversaries, anything, they love that, just loving your community and supporting your community. That's all they want, that's what they want from you, they wanna feel appreciated, they wanna feel seen. That's where you're gonna just keep your members happy, just let me know. And we've seen like our businesses have remodeled, we'll be sure to go get a picture of that and share it or just talk about it and be like, wow, isn't that so great? They just redid this whole space, or they've been with us for 50 years. We can't believe it's been 50 years. Here's a throwback of what they've done, you know, those kinds of things. We always try to do, we have an annual auction that we try to raise funds for the chamber. And we always try to kind of incorporate our like membership appreciation into that. So we'll have like a picture slideshow of our members and what they've done throughout the year, or accomplishments of our businesses throughout the year. Just really showing that you're appreciating them and those kinds of things. That is gonna keep your retention for sure.
Do you, when people pay their dues, do you prorate it?
No, it's for the whole year.
Okay, cause this is interesting, cause that's, I know that they do that.
Some, yeah, lots of places do.
Uh-huh.
It just was easier for me because we just have such a diverse range of, and it's completely on your community.
Right, right.
What works best.
Right.
But we had such a diverse range of businesses and when they were busy and what their seasons were, that it just worked better that when they paid, that was their
That's their year, that's their annual. Yeah, cause that makes sense, cause it, like, if you're going around with your phone, it's a lot easier to have it that way, rather than trying to prorate it right when you're right there and doing it.
You got a good treasurer and secretary to do that.
Yeah.
Well, and then how do you, if you're prorating, how do you determine what benefits they're getting that year?
That's a good point.
Yeah. It was easier for me to say, this is the benefits you're gonna get, and this is your year, and you pay. So that's just what worked for our community, but I do see a ton
Well,
of
it
chambers
makes
that don't.
sense, because a lot of people go, what do I get, what do I do, you know, I mean, they don't understand it, so,
Yeah, and
Oh, look at these prices.
yeah,
Look at the prices of membership.
I will say it's a lot more work.
Yeah, but this is what, right? I mean, we're like $50,
Oh, yeah.
$100.
Yeah.
And Walmart's $300.
That's when they started, oh
Yeah,
yeah, it was
right.
there.
And
Yeah.
so when I saw this, I was like, okay, you know, right? And so, but look, it's still, even in this category, there's things that you don't get, like you don't have it. I mean, this is great.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I highly recommend
Definitely
looking
wanna
at
copy
other
that.
chambers and their benefits and what they do, cause that's kind of how we
I
built
think
ours
ours is
out.
75.
Yeah. We started there, we were there,
Yeah.
yeah. But looking at other chambers and what they're doing for benefits and what their pricing is, then you can really build out what
But
you wanna offer.
you're finding that people are receptive to it. Some people just say, I can't afford it. I mean, you know, what is?
Oh, yeah, we definitely get that, and so
Yeah.
we have, ways that we'll work with them, we have like quarterly payments, if they wanna pay quarterly, we can do that. We try to be flexible, but what we have done, and this is why ours is built around marketing benefits, is our chamber Facebook page has the highest following of any Facebook page in the community. And so we leverage that. We say, hey, here's our Facebook page. We've got almost 6,000 followers. Not a lot, but it's a lot for our community.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Because I've driven through Grand Coulee.
Yeah, we also ran.
You know, I mean,
We're gonna eat, we're gonna stop, we're gonna pee.
yes.
And so we leverage that and say, hey, we'll showcase your business on our Facebook page and tell tourists, stop here for this, stop here for that. And they love that. They think that's great. Not all chambers have a Facebook page like that. That's just what worked for us. Moses Lake, they just have their benefits are completely built on business connections and networks. They are a very much business community because they are quickly growing within like the warehouse industry and
Yeah, it's
technology. Yeah, all
Data
those
centers.
things. Yeah, data centers, thank you.
Yeah,
So theirs is very much like
yes.
business focused benefits, like, I'm not trying to think of one of the benefits, they have like a newsletter sponsorship benefit kind of thing. Email weekly email, like updates, those kinds of things, which work great and those businesses want that. That's not what our businesses want. They want people, they want visibility.
Yeah.
They want people in their business.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're playing on. It comes back to finding what your community needs and what you can play on and build up for them. That's what is gonna work for your benefits. So definitely review your benefits, see what's gonna help your Chamber of Commerce grow for your businesses. Understanding those needs, you guys seem to have a great idea of the visibility, you know that that's key for you, and take that and try to find an impact for that. That's gonna drive growth within the chamber, within your business, and help you create those partnerships and retain your members. You will
Makes
see,
sense.
yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Yeah, just make sure you follow through, that's a huge one. We had, a switch year after I had left, where we didn't have anybody in the chamber for a while, and we struggled to come back after that, and that's a really hard one. So making sure you have those policies in place, they know that those are the benefits that their businesses need to get, otherwise you'll lose your businesses. Having all those things written down and in place and having access to those is important. But that's all I have for you guys today.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Of
course.
Thank
You
you.
know, I'm glad you guys came. That's
Well,
like people
yeah.
to talk to.
Well, it's inspiring because it's like, you don't really know what's out there until, somebody gives you some ideas about what.
Well, yeah, and we're repurposed.
We're repurposed. That's right,
I
that's
like
right.
it.
It's
Yeah.
entirely just repurposed.
I did give you guys just like a little, I always like to have things to send people home with.
Sure.
I don't know if you need it or not, but
That's really interesting, the questions are good.
yeah.
And to just sit down with
Nothing
the
that
chamber
you have to
members
do
and the
today.
president,
Yeah.
go through some of this.
Yeah, I have a copy of the presentation I can probably share with you guys via email.
And I can send you
Yeah.
this too, this little
Sounds
workbook if
good.
you have
Yeah.
anybody that
Yeah,
wants
and if you
it.
can copy this off for me.
Yeah, I'll make a few
that'd be
copies of
great.
that, because I'd like one myself.
Yeah.
And please feel free to reach out with.
Yeah, I
for any
will, I think we
questions.
will, because
Yeah.
I wanna get some, some of the things that you've done.
Yeah,
So you gotta
please.
reinvent the wheel, so to speak.
Yeah, no, don't
Yeah,
reinvent the
yeah,
wheel.
Yeah.
Email me with any, I know you wanted some of those links, so you'll have to
Yes.
email me and remind me so I
Yes.
don't forget, but
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
please do, I'm happy to share my resources.
Perfect.
Not enough people talk about the chamber world and it's
Yeah.
just so questionable, there's so many questions.
It is,
Yeah.
and that's what's a challenge, because it's, well, what's the chamber, it's like. I mean, besides, I can see the events and things like that, and we try to get people involved, but what is it actually that they actually do to make a business?
Hopefully answered some of your questions.
Yes.
Thank you, you
Yes.
did a great job.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you. There's that back for you.
Go ahead and stop the recording.
Great workshop, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun.
Okay.
I'm sure I've taught it in the Grand Coulee area, but